Uh-oh, everybody, and you know what? We're back. Season 2 of Uh-oh, Let's Talk. And it has been a while. And you know what? I'm not even going to take the L for this. Like, producer Al, aka Audio Geek, has got to take a little bit of blame for this. In your Al. Don't try. Audio Geek. Take your blame. Take your blame.
I would say being a full-time working man with children gets me some of the acclaim back from being a working full-time and having children isn't easy, and I would implore the other people on the podcast who don't have children to cut me some slack.
Oh,
And
gosh.
that's the word, and I'm sticking to it. A lot has happened between that time. One thing that stayed the same is Man United are terrible. Things that haven't really stayed the same are people's opinions on vaccination. Things that haven't changed. People are trying to cancel other people online. My Mac OS has had another upgrade on its OS system, so that tells you how long it's actually been. I've got a new pair of headphones, so actually, to be fair, it has been quite a while.
It's been 10 months since we have done season 1 of the Let's Talk podcast. And that is nearly a year, bro. That's crazy. Like from season 1 to 2. Yeah, and
also don't forget when we were doing it, we had time.
Yeah,
a lot of the time we were locked down. We were working from home, and I always knew returning to work would always pose as challenges. One of my children has started school, so that's been a significant change to our household. The other one will start school next year. So actually, to be fair, we've just adapted. We've been adapting to the new normal, which is for some people, it's back to how it used to be. For some people, it's completely different.
Bro, I tell you, like, obviously, like I said, it's been 10 months. It's been nearly a year since we've done season 1. We have done season 1 also of Let's Talk Sports, which will be back very soon as well. But for me, it's weird being back in the office. And I've been back in the office for a while, to be fair. But on the trains at the moment, I'm getting upset with people who are like, oh, you know what? They want me to go back to the office. I'm like, shut up. Get back to work. Do you know what I mean? I'm glad to be back. Obviously, the Otto Bottoms Up Bottomless Brunch is back. London's 3-hour Bottomless Brunch. Next one is the 28th of November. I'll put a ticket link in the bio for that. And you know what? This brunch, we've also got, for the first time, we're doing bottomless beer as well. So you get that along with your bottomless rum, gin, vodka, and Prosecco, plus food. Like, you know, I'm glad to be back. I'm back on the decks every now and again now as well. Not as busy as I was post-lockdown, but it's starting to pick up. So, Al, what's on the menu today, my brother?
Right. Where do you start, really? I think there's a lot to talk about. I think when we talk about things that have changed and haven't changed, I think what has been quite significant in those 10 months is both of us got COVID.
Yes.
Both of us have our own stories to tell with that. And one thing that's also continues to be the topic of discussion is vaccination versus non-vaccination. I suppose where I sit on this at the moment, I suppose where we all sit at the moment is we are heading into another winter, which had always been suggested that was going to be something that we'd be worrying about and how we would live with it as the winters come. As expected, we've talked about how those cases are rising. So we're back, like last winter, we're back on this concept of working out what to do next. The government have a plan A, which is what we're currently doing, which is continuing social distancing, wearing masks, not mandatory, but asking, and just making sure that certain venues you attend, you only attend if you're vaccinated and things like that, or showing proof of negative tests.
Bro,
That's not
happening. It's relaxed.
Of course it's happening.
Of course it's happening. I can't, look, bro, I'm just talking from my experience, yeah?
If you want to go and watch a football match, or you want to go and fly, these things have to happen.
But that's different. That's events, yeah. But normal day-to-day life, there is no. You go to a bar or restaurant, they're not saying. But
no.
Using the hand sanitizer at the door anymore, bro. People just standardly walking in.
No, I don't. I think that side of it, yeah, it's very relaxed. I think in terms of like you say, events, flying, you have to prove that you are either vaccinated or you have a negative test. And now this talks about the government being urged to go to their plan B, which is pretty much a return to what it was last year, which is mandatory face masks, working from home, social distancing.
They're not going to do
whether it can be to the level as it was last year, I doubt it.
They're not going to
whether they can risk being so close to Christmas and money being so tight and their blunders with universal credit with all that going on, whether they can still then tell people to work from home and shut shops. I don't think they can do that. I think all that aside, the bigger discussion really is, and I don't want to pressure anybody to talk about what they think, where they sit with vaccinations are. That's for everybody's opinion.
Well, it's a personal choice.
I suppose
the pressure that people
it's a personal choice, but I think
personal choice.
There's a vaccination conversation and there's a conversation of you personally, and I think what really sent it home for me is I heard somebody talk about them saying, I can believe in something but still not think it's the right thing to do, and equally I can think something is wrong but still believe it to be at the moment the right thing to do.
Well, bro,
I sit there in that same boat, really. I think personally.
Well, bro, I listen to a lot of news from around the world, and in the States, they're saying that now people who are like got autoimmune disease or compromised immune systems may have to get a fourth jab, which is bonkers, and they have an emergency thing through to say that 5 to 12-year-olds can get a vaccine. Now, as a father, would you give any of your kids the vaccine?
So I think this is where we need to have a bit of clarity. And I did ask this question with a medical, a healthcare professional about it. And I did ask I myself am vaccinated. I myself caught COVID. It was very mild. I got over it. Funny enough, I had a bit of symptoms that continued after, up until maybe a couple of weeks ago. And I got it in August. So, August, October, nearly November. It was very mild for me. And I questioned a healthcare professional, why am I getting a booster if it doesn't protect me as well as it does? I had it in the end, all these things. And the suggestion was, and apparently this has always been common knowledge, and it's maybe where we're in the age of the social media, we're not really listening to it properly, is the vaccine itself only covered you a particular amount of time, as some vaccines do. Some vaccines cover you for years and years and years. Some cover you for very short periods of time. So the suggestion had always been that vaccine would cover you for a year, which is why as it rolls back round again, this period, they're asking people who are most vulnerable to have boosters. I think that's reasonable, personally. I didn't think it was reasonable a few months ago.
This is my thing, innit? Like you said at the start of the podcast, don't forget, by the way, to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button if you're listening on the YouTube, and you can follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts as well. We both had COVID. I think we're happy to say you're vaccinated, I'm not vaccinated. In terms of symptoms, I had it a lot worse than you. I would put my hands up to that. But on the flip side, like you just said, the vaccine doesn't stop you from getting it, and it runs out. Yeah, that's what you just said. Its effects lessen over time, right?
Well, it doesn't stop you getting it, but it increases the chances of not getting it, and it increases
the vaccine's effectiveness lessens over time. Is what you said about that's why
over a particular period.
Right.
Yeah.
So on the flip side, I have not had the vaccine, and I have antibodies that will fight that virus. Of course I do, because my point. Hold on.
No, you don't.
Hold on.
That's not fact.
Hold on. My point.
That's not fact.
Hold on. My point. Let me finish my point. In case we went away, we went away. 8 of us, we went away. 3 of you mans come back with COVID. I didn't get that because I got antibodies. Fact.
Not true.
Facts, bro.
Not fact.
So why did I
Not
not?
fact.
Bro, I sat
Not
next
fact
to
at
you.
all.
Bro, I
So
sat
what? So
next
what?
to
So
you
why
on the
did?
train. I sat next to you on the
So
train.
what? So why
Shared
didn't the
a
other
drink.
5 get it then? Because the other, but listen, the other 5 didn't have antibodies. They didn't have the virus. So why didn't they get it?
Maybe they have had it, bro. Some people have had this thing and don't know they had it.
They have. Well, but this is my point. So it isn't fact. What they're saying? That's why I'm very careful with my choice of words. What they're saying is actually is there more of a reality that 1 in 4 people that have had COVID don't have antibodies. Actually, that's what they're saying. So they're saying this concept of being, which is why even if you've had COVID, you still need to take the precautions. Because I was the same. The moment I had COVID, I walked around like I was a king.
Yeah.
I've got antibodies. You know, you don't have to worry me. I walked around work, no mask, didn't care. You know, and then I started to realize, actually, well, no. Actually, in reality, if 1 in 4 don't have antibodies, then that would be me, my partner, you, and one of our friends. That's 4 of us, and one of us doesn't have antibodies, which increases the risk of having it again. So my point really is, and it's quite open and shut for me, the way I say it, is there are some things that I don't necessarily believe in, but equally believe they may be the right thing to do. And that sounds very contradictory, but the way I see it is I can't see the valid argument against not being vaccinated, personally. And that's just my opinion. I don't look at people who have not been vaccinated and say they're stupid or anything like that. I think the reasons behind them aren't valid, personally. But I do believe the only way we will get through this, like we've got through many of diseases in our lifetime, like we've got through many of things in our lifetime, the only way to do it is for people to start actively taking these precautions to not spread the virus. And the best way to not spread the virus is either staying at home or being vaccinated. So I denounce this. What I do find is nonsense is this argument about just vaccines, and I don't take vaccines, and I don't do this and I don't do that, and I'm a healthy person. Listen, if you've traveled anywhere in South America or Africa, you've had a vaccine. You know, these things were okay when you were traveling, but now all of a sudden, when it's about, you know, being in your own country and all of this, then all of a sudden people are talking about, well, I've never been vaccinated. I don't take vaccines. All right, then, but then let's look at your history of travel, because it probably proved that you have.
I'm not an anti-vaxxer in any way. Like I said, and I don't. I'm gonna get across to the listeners as well. It's a personal choice. Like me and you have our different opinions on the vaccine, but it's not like we don't fall out about it. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely not.
Do you see what I mean? It's a personal choice. So the pressures that some people are putting on, like friends and family, I think that's slightly unfair. It's a personal choice. And it's a personal choice what people put in their bodies. I am not an anti-vaxxer. In fact, I had the flu jab last week. And now some people will be like, well, why don't you just get the COVID vaccine? The flu jab's been around for 10 plus years. I didn't even got it for the first 3-4 years. I didn't get it. I rode my luck. Like, no, I want to see what the effects are. My problem with this vaccine is just the speed it's been rushed. And I get it. There's a worldwide pandemic. But what my issue is, with any vaccine or any medicine that we take, there are side effects. Now, the bit I don't like...
and I'm glad you said that. With anything. Yeah. With anything that goes as simple as paracetamol. Yeah. People have died taking paracetamol. Yeah. Because it says this is the bit that annoys me, if you open up these boxes, you get the same thing it says when you get your COVID vaccine and you get your leaflet, it's the same thing you see in a paracetamol bottle. No, exactly the same thing.
I'm not knocking that. My thing is, the pressure they're putting on people, we don't know what the long-term side effects are of this rushed vaccine.
So what's the alternative then? What's the alternative?
We have to do it, innit? Like you said, sometimes you believe in it. Like I said, bruv, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Like, I definitely ain't. Like I said,
I'm agreeing with you. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, because we're saying people have been put under pressure.
My boy's got a vaccine site in White City. Like, I got a lot of people slots to get the vaccine. If I was an anti-vaxxer, I wouldn't be doing that.
I'm not saying that. I'm playing devil's advocate. So and I'm not having a go at you. I'm playing devil's advocate for those people that may agree with you. I'm playing devil's advocate. If you think that the way through it is for people to be vaccinated to stop the spread and kill the virus dead, then should we not be putting pressure on people to do it then?
The thing is, this virus is not going to go away, just like the flu doesn't go away. It's going to be it's here for life. It's here for life, This thing's...
But viruses have gone away. Viruses have gone away where people have been vaccinated and it's not spread.
Yeah. But right, do you know what?
There are some viruses that don't exist anymore
I don't
because of
have
that reason.
I don't have the answers, Swee. Like I'm not a medical. I'm
And
not
and
an
I
MD.
think no, but I think that's the point. Though you don't have the answers, and that's fine to not have the answers. I think everybody's so forthright with their opinions. I accept for lots of reasons. People may not want to get it, but equally you accept what comes with not having it.
I
In the
just think
same way, I have to accept that yes, I could have an adverse reaction at some point in life to it, but there are people in my life whose lives are worthy enough for me to put my own life at risk.
yeah,
So
bro.
therefore, that's my decision. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I just don't like the pressure that certain people are putting on because some of them people that are putting pressure smoke. Like smoking kills a lot of people.
Do you know what? Can I just say something? And it's controversial. I'm going to say it anyway. I find it very hard to take people serious who walk around with a badge saying, I'm exempt from wearing a mask whilst they're having a cigarette.
Bro,
That for me, I can't come across things that are more infuriating than that. You cannot sit there and argue with me about vaccines and argue with me about pressure and not wearing a mask when you yourself conduct in many things in a day that puts your life
100%.
more at risk.
100%.
So that I can't deal with. But I think the right thing there is yes, there isn't an answer.
Yeah,
I'll tell you where there is an answer for.
What's that?
Is Joshua Kimmich, Bayern Munich midfielder. He's got some answers to. He's got some answers to give people. So he is a footballer. He plays for Bayern Munich. Very famous, very good actually. Lots of people have questioned why he himself wasn't in the question for the Ballon d'Or. He is part of what I believe is a charity or some sort of organization with his teammate Leon Goretzka, who are helping to spread the message of vaccination and trying to help those unvaccinated to become vaccinated. And he's one of the faces of that in Germany of vaccination. He then came out very recently, which was obviously awful news for this organization. He then came out and said that he himself is not vaccinated. So he supported all these charities and has been a figurehead for it. He has said, I'm aware, of course, of my responsibility. I follow all the hygiene measures. I get tested every 2 to 3 days. Everyone should make the decisions for themselves.
And that's what I'm trying to say, bro.
He insisted he is not a COVID denier or an anti-vaxxer. He said there's a good chance that I will still get vaccinated. It's simply that I have some concerns. Now, again,
brother, I'm the same.
I've got no issue. I've got no issue with what he said, but you have to understand how people might look at that as hypocrisy.
Yeah.
You can't say to people to get in because the joke of it is, if Joshua Kimmich was a fan, he wouldn't be able to attend any of those games.
Yeah.
But because he's a footballer, he is. So it goes back to the class system. It goes back to privilege, and I don't think that's acceptable. And that goes into the whole debate about Kyrie Irving. Do you know about Kyrie Irving and all that sort of stuff?
I think it goes into treated, like
all of that is that's another podcast. And I do agree that all of that stuff seems a bit harsh, but you have to understand that if I've got to pay my hard-earned money to go and watch my team play, I can only go if I'm vaccinated, but all the players can run around and not be vaccinated. Yeah. And I understand that there is no, we know we're not mixing with the players. I get all of that, but equally, it does scream a little bit of privilege. But I think I'll let you have your final word on the vaccine.
Yeah, you know what? I think my final word on it is like, look, it's a personal decision. And I think whatever you're going to put into your body, I think you should do the necessary research to find out what you want to do. But I don't believe that anybody should be pressured into putting any sort of vaccine into their body. So that's where I'm going to leave that.
One thing I would like to pressure you on.
Visit the NHS website, do your research. Do you know what I mean? There's so much out there. Look, we live in the World Wide Web. No one has an excuse to be ignorant or dumb. Like, jump online, hit Google, you're good. Go on. Oh, and
Can I
don't forget
pressure
to
you
like,
on
share,
something?
subscribe. Yeah, go on. Push me.
I'd like to pressure you on why you don't see it necessary to shower and clean yourself daily.
Nah,
We've had lots of conversations about this, and it just made me realise that actually, um, for someone like yourself who doesn't see it necessary to wash themselves, you would be somebody who would be caught up in what's been called as celebrity showergate. Now, me personally, I think this is an absolute non-conversation, but I like to be open and hear what people have to say. I'm going to read you a little bit of text that I've got from the Cosmopolitan website, the magazine. So, celebrities Mila Kunis and Kristen Bell have admitted that washing really isn't on their daily to-do list, igniting what we're calling celebrity showergate. Hashtag celebrity showergate. Speaking to actor Dax Shepard on his podcast, Armchair Expert, Mila said, "I don't wash my body with soap every day." Her husband Ashton Kutcher then added, "I wash my armpits and my crotch daily and nothing else ever." The comments sparked other celebrities to weigh in on the topic, with Dax's wife, Kristen Bell, also admitting she's a big fan of waiting for the stink. "Once you catch a whiff, that's biology's way of letting you know you need to clean it up," Christine said. So, as a fellow anti-washer,
Hey, bruv,
what are your thoughts on that?
Look, I wash twice a day. Thank you very much. Once before I go to my bed, and once in the morning. Yeah,
That's
and it's
not true.
fully
That's not true.
showered. Yeah, my whole
That's
thing,
not true.
my whole thing on this.
I'm saying it's not true because you're exaggerating because you want people to believe that you wash. So really, in reality, you wash once a day, and that's fine. That's fine to wash once a day. That's absolutely fine.
People that know me know I'm a very clean person. My hygiene is there. But my thing on this is especially as a lady, they have a lot more in their body.
I'm gonna disagree with you there. But anyway, I'll let you go.
On their body, bro. They have a lot more discharge than men. Do you know what I mean? So for you to be saying,
So can I ask you a question then? How do you know that? How do you know they've got more discharge than men?
Bro, I look, come on, man. Like I've had girlfriends that say it to me. Do you know what I mean? Like women have a lot more like discharge or whatever. My problem, it doesn't matter, man or woman, it doesn't matter. But
no, I think that does matter. I think it does matter because I think it goes back to the point.
If you're, brother, I couldn't be with something again. If that's what you want to live your life, like, and not wash every day, that's your business. But I could not be with someone, that does not wash their crotches every day. Like my mum has always said, bro, them pretty gal sometimes are the nastiest ones, bro. Because Mila Kunis, she's not bad.
But this is my point. But this is my point, though. This is my point. Why is it? So what's worse then? A man that doesn't wash or a woman doesn't wash?
Bro, it's both nasty. Like, bro, if I didn't wash...
So hold up. Exactly. So why is the narrative about Mila Kunis?
This is my thing, right? I have...
No, hold up. No.
With her, because she's...
No, let's go back. Let's go back to that. Why is the narrative about Mila Kunis?
I think she was the first to come out and say it, bro.
It was her and Ashton Kutcher. They both and Ashton Kutcher at the same time said it.
I saw the podcast, bro. He wasn't on the podcast. It was just her. She wasn't on the podcast.
So I'm telling you now. The conversation, the conversation was in reference to initially their children.
Yeah, that's right. But I watched the podcast with her, and Ashton wasn't on that podcast. 100%.
So the initial conversation was about her and Ashton Kutcher's children, and that's when they discussed about only cleaning them when they see dirt. And then there was a separate conversation about them themselves washing. My point is, and this is why it's a non-conversation for me, we've always grown up with this narrative that it's worse for a woman to not wash. Why?
To be fair, I've always considered women to be a lot more cleaner than guys in general anyway, if I'm honest.
But why is it worse for them to not wash than for men to wash?
Bro, I don't know. Maybe that's just something we've always been...
Why is it worse? Why is it worse? Exactly. Why is it worse that my daughter doesn't wash more than what my son washes? Do you see my point?
No, I don't think there is. No.
I don't think there is a distinction to be made. I'm questioning why this is a story. I might be wrong. The reason why I'm saying it's a story is because it's an opportunity to embarrass and to poke at particular women. I
Bro, I'm
don't
not
think
gonna
this is a
lie.
story.
I don't think
So hold on.
she's not embarrassed about it.
Hold
No,
on.
no chance.
No. To embarrass women, yeah. To say something degrading. Because if it was if it was Ashton Kutcher and George Clooney and Brad Pitt, or if it was even what's his face, Daniel Craig, that said it, I don't think anybody would care. It wouldn't get the same traction. I think a lot of this is to do to society's views on how women need to conduct themselves. And let's be honest,
Nah,
as
bro.
men, we've always been brought up.
I
We've
disagree,
always
bro.
been brought up. We've always been brought up to expect a certain level of behavior and cleanliness from women, which we ourselves are not expected to upkeep.
Talk for yourself, bro. My hygiene is up there in the Champions League, bro.
No,
Do you know what I mean?
you didn't hear what I said. You didn't hear what I said.
The reason why I disagree with you is I don't think it's a fact that she's a woman. I think they've both come out and said it as a couple. But for me, I think it's disgusting either way. And what's made it worse?
But the narrative is on her.
But you're saying a narrative about women, yeah. But a lot of the people that have come out about it have been women. Like Taylor Swift, she come out and said the same thing. Like how she gets in the shower.
Yeah, so did Jake Gyllenhaal came out and said it. The guy Dak Shepard came out and said it.
Some of them mans, like them jackass guys, they don't look like
Ashton Kutcher came out and said it.
Yeah, bro, that doesn't surprise me. But for me personally, I couldn't be with bro, hygiene is important for me. Like you and H2O and soap needs to be BBFs, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like you need to be besties. Like I couldn't fathom being with someone who didn't wash on a daily basis. Like water needs to be licking your skin, bro, and the whole part of you, from your matty crease to your little toe, it needs to be touching with soap and water. Like
I just think for me, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with anybody's
again, it's a personal choice. It's a personal choice, bro.
Yeah, so I don't disagree with anybody's analysis of when and where and how you or your partner or your children should wash, right? I don't disagree with that. And that's the same as saying, well, I'm not going to wash for 4 days. I'm going to wash every day. Yeah, whatever your routine is, as long as you're keeping healthy, whatever your routine is, or what your partner's routine is, or what you expect of people is your thing. Yeah, and that for me, so that's why I said for me it wasn't a conversation, because I don't have an opinion on it.
Yeah,
what I do have an opinion on.
We're not gonna dwell on this subject long.
Anyway. No, yeah. I just think for me, what I find difficult to, and lots of people, if we use this new language that the incel crowd would use, they'll say I'm a simp because I'm saying this. But what I feel quite strongly about is, and the reason why I feel strong about it, the reason why I feel like it's a target towards women, is because during the whole pandemic, when the Black Lives Matter thing kicked off, it made me understand you cannot expect other people to pick up the mantle for you for hate and discrimination if you're not willing to do it for other people. It doesn't work like that. You bend the knee. You take the knee because you want to show solidarity towards all forms of hate and discrimination.
Well, I'm with the
so when I see what I believe is if I see what I believe is discrimination and hatred, I'm gonna mention it. And I feel like the taglines on this, and this is, get me wrong, this is a magazine made for women, and the names I'm seeing: Julia Roberts, Cameron Diaz, I'm seeing Mila Kunis, Kristen Bell, but yet Ashton Kutcher doesn't come down into that conversation for about 4 paragraphs, and that's my point. I think this it goes back to this whole, and this is the last thing I'm going to say on it, it goes back to this whole concept that if you are a woman, you are held to a higher standard than men. And my argument actually is, I don't care how much discharge you have, where your discharge comes from. Yeah, it doesn't matter. There is a responsibility for a man or a woman to keep themselves clean, to stop themselves from being unwell. I don't think, and I don't agree with this concept that as a woman you have to be more clean because you've got more chance of being unwell, because you've got more discharge. I think most women will tell you a lot of the discharge or whatever that comes out from their body isn't things that make them unwell. you know,
Yeah, that's
it's
why it's
part
coming
of
out
it's part of the process.
clean and
Yeah,
tasty.
exactly. It's part of the it's
Yeah.
exactly. So that's my little thing on it personally. I just think
Bro,
it's a little bit.
again, it's like you said, it has made the media as a big thing over the last couple of weeks or months or whatever. But my thing is, why have you got to tell people that? Like, keep it to
No,
yourself.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
A
Yeah.
100%, 100%.
I
Like,
don't
if
understand.
this is the world that you live in, this is the
Yeah,
world you
like,
live in. You've got to live and die by the sword. And if you're
yeah.
going to talk
If you're gonna put it out
nonsense,
there,
then be prepared.
you got
Yeah.
to take the heat that comes with it. Do you know what I mean? You've put it out there. No one ever asks you if you wash your crutches every day. Do you know what I mean? You've given
So,
that information to people. So
so does the same way of thinking still apply to the whole, which we segue quite nicely onto, is the whole Jesse Nelson thing, because that's a concept of, as an artist, you put art out. And I do like the phrase artist. I don't like the phrase rapper, singer. I like the phrase artist because I think, yeah, when it comes to music, you are putting forward some form of art for people to enjoy. Um, Jessie Nelson did that in her own way. No, and I take that back. That's quite disrespectful to say did it in her own way. She did that. She put her art form forward. And she was accused of what's called blackfishing. Now, Mr. DJ Goldenchild, do you understand, or do you? Because I don't fully.
course,
I'll be honest.
No, no.
Do you understand the concept of blackfishing?
Yes, I do.
If you don't, I can read
No,
the
no, I think
definition.
you should read the
I had to
definition.
check this.
Do you know why? Because I spoke to a couple of people at work about it. And you know what? Someone I spoke to at work, big shout out to my homegirl Sophia. She did say that the term culturally ignorant needs to be used more sometimes than the word you're racist. And I think a lot of people are culturally ignorant, not racist. They're culturally ignorant. Now, before you do a definition of of blackfish, we both have sisters. I have 3 sisters, and I spoke to them about it as well. So I can see both sides of the argument when it comes to her and what she's doing, and why some black women in the black community are upset about it. I do understand it.
So hold those opinions. You can tell us straight after, right? So let's for the audience, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what they meant by this. I had to check it, not because I am culturally ignorant, but because actually, I'll be honest with you, I think there are lots of terms at the moment which are used to identify particular people, usually in a negative way, that I don't always know the answer to or the definition for. Being black doesn't mean I should know what blackfishing means. But let's go into it. So blackfishing refers to someone who, and this is from the BBC website, remind people of where we get this information from. Blackfishing refers to someone who uses things like hairstyling and makeup to make them appear darker, so if they have black or heritage of mixed race. The term was first used, and this is where the bit that gets me. The term was first used on Twitter 3 years ago when journalist Rana Thompson said that she noticed white celebrities and influencers cosplaying or dressing up as black women on social media, right? So further on down there, there's a quote here that says, they argue that blackfishing allows a person to pick and choose the cool parts of being black without facing any of the racism, discrimination, or negative actuals black people do for having the same characteristics. It's seen as cultural appropriation. Now, I don't want to segue too far into another topic, but a lot of people argue with the Dave Chappelle issues, this is kind of what he's saying in terms of his defense of J.K. Rowling. So please remind me to come back to that.
Yeah.
But in terms of blackfishing, I'm going to let you speak on this a bit more, mainly because I think you've got a lot more insight. I'm just going to say my piece now and just be slightly, not so much controversial, but I'm going to be, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. 2 things. Haven't people always done that? That's the first thing.
Yeah,
Haven't people always done that to black people in our culture? And secondly, the other point I want to pull up is, what do you want her to do about? What do you want her to do about it? Yeah. Haven't people always done that to our community?
Yep.
And what do we need to do to protect our intellectual rights? And what do you want her to do about what you've accused her of? So I'm going to let you take the floor on this
Right.
one.
Number one, I listened to the tune. I think the tune's whack. I know some people say the tune is big. Some people like it. Some people don't. I know your homegirl, ZZ Mills, has weighed in massively on it. She's got a new phrase. I can't remember what the phrase she said. She's got a phrase which I find very interesting. Now, like you said, it's been happening from the beginning of time. And that's from all races and cultures that take bits that they like and put it into their own cultures. So there's nothing, like you said.
But I think musically, it's been happening to the black community from
massive,
as far back as you can believe.
Yeah.
I think genuinely, and it's a controversial thing to say, but I truly believe in it. For every big musical star that you can think of that is white, there will be a black musical star or a musical star of an ethnic minority right behind them who didn't get their recognition, but had their music virtually copied. I'll give an example of that. Do you ever know what happened to Boys to Men?
No.
And why they fell off?
No.
Shall I tell you why they fell off?
No.
98 Degrees. Do you know who 98 Degrees are?
Is it a boy band?
Yeah. And at the time that Boys to Men came out, and Boys to Men were a rip-roaring success for lots of different reasons, they stopped being popular because a record company did a carbon copy, made 4 guys, sang similar songs, called them 98 Degrees, and within months they had outsold them, outtoured them, out everything, and all the things that they loved about Boys to Men had been recreated in a different package, and they didn't see the need for Boys to Men anymore. And I think that story.
Were these a white group?
Yeah. So they're very famous. So one of the main singers, one of the guys was a guy called Nick Lachey, who married Jessica Simpson, and they had that. Do you remember they had that?
Yeah. Was he in another boy band?
They had that little. Yeah, he was in a boy. No, I think it was just that. I don't know. He might have been another one after that, but that's where he came from, and I never knew that about Boys to Men.
He done enough reality TV after that.
But yet, you look back at so many of these successful artists, and you can track back to not long before their success, a ethnic minority version of the same music that wasn't as successful because it was harder to sell.
See, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that. I just thought the one with a deep voice. I know he was quite ill, so I thought that's why they.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
I know he was quite.
Sorry, I interrupted you there, but yeah.
No,
I think I actually have lost. That it always happens. Yeah,
lost my train of thought.
I think we're talking about the fact that it always happens. That's always happens.
See, my thing is because it always happens doesn't mean it's right. First off, I'm not trying. No. I'm not taking sides. I'm not taking sides. My thing with the whole what's that Jesse Nelson thing, yeah.
Nelson, yeah.
I could accept it more if Little Mix were busting R&B tunes from the beginning. I take it, and then she decides. Do you see what I mean? You understand what I'm trying to say? If that's like, bruv, one of the most, and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it in my chest. One of the most blatant culture vultures. I'm not gonna say she blackfished it, but she culture vultured us. Yeah, and I'm saying it in my chest. Was Pink. Yeah, bro. She came in as an R&B artist. And as soon as she was through the door, she done 180 degree spin.
Which she admitted to.
Yeah, she did. But
yeah, she openly admitted to it.
What a lot of non-black people don't understand is we have struggled from oppression for hundreds of years. Yeah. So
more than we've not struggled for oppression. Yeah. So we've been enslaved longer than we've had. Enslaved.
Yeah, 100%. And if you don't get that, you don't get that. That's not because it don't affect you. You don't get it. So when artists like Jesse Nelson and Pink get the opportunities to shine, when there's equally and more talented black women, Asian women, or minority women who are working their arse off to try and get the same opportunity. That is why sometimes that, as a community, we are angry. Now, like I said, if Little Mix were doing R&B from the beginning, yeah, and she looked the way she did now in Little Mix, I would have less of an issue with it. The fact is, if you go Google her photos, bruv, she did not look how she's looking now. Like
well,
now,
the argument is,
if I see a picture of her,
there's an argument there.
I thought she was mixed raced.
There's an argument there. So Leanne Pinnock, famously of Little Mix.
Yeah.
For those of people who listen to her know, she herself is mixed race, and the rest of the members are white. She herself said that she felt throughout the entire time that she was in Little Mix that it was a constant issue that their record labels were making them, the other girls and herself, appear to be more black and to black and be and Blackfishing was more apparent the whole time, not just now. So she would argue, actually, if you do look back, you will see examples of when, and I suppose when I look back, the only time I saw Little Mix up front live was I went to the Big Nasty show. I went to a recording of it, which just was great, and I loved it, but went on forever. It was interesting to see how TV's recorded. They were on that, if I believe, and I don't remember them being dressed as if they were to look a particular
but they did
way.
They did do a tune with Sean Paul. They did do a tune with Sean Paul.
But again, I don't know enough about them to say this is a valid. I think you probably say the same.
Yeah.
You don't know enough about them to say whether it's.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen pictures of her, bruv. She was pale skinned, like she ain't got curly hair. All of a sudden, she's come out. She's looking like she's gone, with no disrespect to no one, from mayonnaise to Grace Cajun spice. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
but then
but my thing is, and I don't get upset about people doing that. I think as a black community, sometimes we've got to take it as a compliment that you wanna be like I wanna be like us. It's maybe not the right term, but my issue is keep the same energy. And I've always stated that. Like, my thing is, like, as a DJ, I have faced the same stuff. I get these clubs and bars popping, and then they turn around and say, you know what, we don't have enough white people in here when you DJ. But you've never had a fight or any issues. But all of a sudden it's an issue. But if I'm DJing to a full white crowd, there is no issue. No one ever come up to me and say we don't have enough black people in here.
What's the answer?
Bro, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
But we need to have the conversation, because ultimately, when we sit here and this is one of my second questions is, so what do you want her to do about it? So maybe the answer is you want her to stand firm and actually say, no, I don't want to appropriate any culture to sell records.
No, I think she did. I think she did. I think she come out and said something.
But what if she enjoys? What if she enjoys portraying? What if that is? I'm not saying it is. What if she enjoys and has for a long time enjoyed being part of or showing respect to the black culture, and then now all of a sudden, she's been pulled on it, and actually she's got to now question whether that's culturally appropriate for her to do that.
Right,
and if she does enjoy it, so what's the answer? Does she have to? Does she have to then say she does enjoy being part of that culture? Does she then have to make more of an effort to help that culture out, make more of an effort to put people on, make sure she's a bigger face of some of the charities, be more with Black Lives Matter? Does she have to be involved more in social issues? I'm not saying she's done anything right or wrong. Like I said, you have a bit more understanding than what I do. I'm asking, what do you want her to do about it? And not in a way that I'm defending her. I'm just asking for the people that are angry. It's okay being angry. One of the wisest things ever told to me was some people just want to be angry.
Yeah, 100%.
And a lot of them don't want a solution. They just want to be angry. They don't want a solution. So I'm just saying, as devil's advocate, not sticking up for anybody. Like, what do we want her to do?
Do you know what? I do think this is a topic that we may have to get a female in on, and I think we will probably revisit this on our podcast, because obviously, and again, I know you hate that whole man or woman thing, but this is clearly women in the black community are more strongly upset about this than obviously black men are.
Yes, definitely.
Like I said, Zee Mills has fallen out with one of the rappers who was like, look, get off the girl's back. I like the tune. I don't have a problem with the tune. I don't have a problem with the tune. My thing is, like I said to you at the beginning, is keep the same energy. Now, the BBC, I've got to be careful what I say about them because I used to work for them. But the thing I'm going to say is they do stuff like, was it top 50 greatest R&B songs or something like that? Or they done an R&B show, but then Cheryl Cole was the one presenting it. Like, that annoys me, bro.
Yeah.
Like, Cheryl Cole's got nothing to do with R&B. Do you know what I mean? Now, if anyone else done that, then you're cool. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like when you do stuff like that, you get another artist, you get a proper person to represent that show. Jamila would have been perfect for that. June Frimpong would have been perfect for that. Do you know what I mean? We have so many great black presenters out there that are not getting that same shot. And I think that's a big part of the issue that we have in this country with, I don't want to be treated any differently to anyone else. I want to be treated exactly the same. So give me my fair shot. If I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough.
But this is my point. No, this is my point. It has always been like this. So what's the solution? And I genuinely believe, I kind of feel like I'm doing this now, not in this space, you know. I'm not going to profess to do that. I kind of feel like I'm doing this now in the concept of there are certain things in life that I just don't find acceptable. And we do them, and we've always done them because we're told we've always got to do them, or that's just the way things have been done. I said, you know what, I don't want to do that anymore. It sounds so pathetic because you can't even compare it to this. But it's things like, my phone bill, my TV bill. I just feel like, hold on a minute. Someone's told me along the line, I've got to pay this amount of money to get something that I want. And also they've got to give me something else that I don't want on top of it. I don't want to do that. I want to vote with my feet. I want to do the things the way I want to do it.
I think as well, at the moment,
I kind of feel like surely it's not the same, bro. Surely it's like, well, stop looking at the BBC. Stop looking at the Grammys. So actually, if we're doing,
bro, you're talking to the converted.
Stop looking at the BBC.
You're talking to the converted.
Yeah, don't look at the BBC. Don't look at the Grammys. Look at the things that we can put together that actually do celebrate us.
I've got to
and actually take some pride in the BET Awards and
but the rated awards,
GRM Daily, take pride in that.
Rated awards, they're done their own thing. Like,
why do we? I watched a beautiful social media. Sorry, and I'll let you carry on. I watched a beautiful social media post today. It was a mixed race woman who was the coach of, I think, the women's Duke basketball team at a university in America, and it was beautiful. It massively resonated with me. She said, "Don't let me, as in her, don't let me dictate how you feel about yourself. Don't let me dictate how hard you're going to go and practice, how well you play in the game. Because you've got to have that self-confidence in yourself. No matter who tells you what's going on, you've got to believe in yourself and your ability to do what you can do." So why do we look at these websites, that rate our music? You've got all these people who are, journalists who are, are most likely white, writing about Dave's album, who have never spent a day in Streatham, and are trying to sonically, review album and content of somebody who's not even in your culture. So why do we keep looking for these? Why do we keep looking for approval?
You know what, Al? You've gone on to the point.
These websites and these companies that don't respect us.
You've gone on to a point exactly what I got 2 points to make. The first one is culture is nothing to do with color, and I think people need to distinguish that. Like, bro,
I agree.
You're from a Ghanaian culture that I have embraced, so I know certain things from the Ghanaian culture because of you, like being around your family, like.
Yeah, but you were saying some really strange things like, Nigerian jollof is dead.
No, I never said that.
Is awesome.
Listeners.
I want to be fair to all our listeners, and I would like to say that in my opinion, Ghanaian jollof is obviously the better one. But I just want to put on record that it was DJGoldenChild that was basically saying.
I'm gonna say it in my chest. They can't cancel me, bruv. You get me? So don't try to get that. At the end of the day, I've been growing up around the Ghanaian culture. So for me, the first jollof rice I had was Ghanaian jollof. So to me, Ghanaian jollof is the best.
And arguably the best, but yeah.
I that's my opinion. Do you know what I mean? If I'd have had Nigerian jollof first, it might have been a different thing, but I didn't. So, and big shout.
And then you would have changed your mind when you had Ghanaian jollof.
And big shout to Mummy Sarah, because I love you, Mum. I'm going to say that there. But yeah, straight off, culture and color are not the same thing. So when you said about people reviewing music, I don't care what color you are, if it's your culture. Now, I don't know if you've seen that Google advert, which has grated me a little bit, which is like, who can say
Which one?
Who can say Wagwan? I don't know if you've seen it. It's been...
I think I've seen it, but not heard it. Like I've seen it in the background, but not heard it.
So basically,
Yeah, I've not heard
you
it.
got a white kid saying "Wagwan." That's not my. I don't have an issue with that, bro. Because you know why? I have very close friends who are white. You know what I mean? Otto Snells, big up your chest. Snells can't be here today, by the way, because he's working.
He says "Wagwan" all the time.
He says "Wagwan."
Sometimes I have to ask him not. Sometimes I have to ask him not to say "Wagwan." Sometimes he says it too much.
But Snells,
which is clearly a joke, everybody.
Otto Snells has been.
I'm joking.
Snells has been brought up around that culture. Do you know what I mean? Like this guy has reasoning with his seasoning. Do you know what I mean? He was seasoning. He can't. He know he can't come and give me bland chicken. You know what I mean? He knows he can't do that. But if that's your culture, that's your thing, innit? You accept it. Like, bro, one thing I'll big up my mum. Yeah. So culturally, I am British. And I love being British. I'm not going to try and deny that. Some listeners will be like, what, you mad, bro? I'm not Jamaican because I've never lived in Jamaica. I'm from Jamaican heritage. Yes, I'm second generation British. Growing up, I had my ackee and saltfish and my dumplings and my festival and my rice and peas and my jerk chicken. But you know what my mum also done? My mum also made sure that I knew about British culture. So
yeah, and that you had hardo bread and callaloo.
Yeah, bro, I had all that. But I also had pie and mash on a Saturday up in Upton Park before West Ham would play. Do you know what I mean? Even though I'm not a West Ham fan, but pie and mash and liquor and fish and chips. So culture's different. Do you see what I'm trying to say? The point I'm trying to say. So if
I
you're
want to
white,
say something controversial.
If you're white, black, or Asian, and you're being brought up around a certain culture, I don't mind. Eminem, bruv. Eminem's part of that. John B. Do you know what I mean? No one will ever call them culture vultures. Pink is a culture vulture, bruv. I'm sorry. Like, maybe it wasn't her fault and it was the only way she had in, but you know what? Maybe it hurts me because I was a Pink fan, bro, and you put me on Pink as well. There you go. Is
No. I know. I'm the same, but I would also like to say something controversial. We don't have a lot of time to discuss it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm going to say it with my chest, and I'm saying it with my chest because mainly I'm for those who don't know, I'm predominantly a plant-based eater, so I do my absolute best to ensure that 100% of what I eat is plant-based. I don't understand why people get so obsessed, and I use the phrase obsessed, with the method that people use or don't use to, and I'm going to put this in inverted commas, clean their meat.
Bro, come on.
Can I say why?
Nah, bro.
Can I say why? Can I say why?
Bro, don't let me cancel you.
Can I say why?
Don't let me cancel you on this. You can say.
Can I say why? Can I say why?
Go on.
Let me know. Let me explain why.
All right, go on.
There's an obsession of, so if you don't clean it the way I clean it, it's not clean. I just want to say something, just for something, just a bit of thought here.
You got Black Twitter gone.
Just listen. Is it, it's an argument, bro. Is water wet?
Of course it is.
Tell me.
Water is wet.
Well, how?
Is it?
Explain.
When I get touched by water. So I don't know. But that's
right, but for something to be... Listen to my theory. This is why this is a good conversation, because for something to be wet, yeah? Do you agree with me? It had first needed to have been dry. So you can get the distinguish of something being wet. No?
We're in a description type.
If my hand is dry... Listen, if my hand is dry
and
I pour water on it, it becomes wet.
Your hand on foot always.
So listen, follow the chain of thought, yeah? If the table is dry, yeah, for it to stop being dry, it needs water. Yeah?
What the else this got to do?
You agree with that?
Yeah.
Listen, just listen, bruv. Do you agree or not?
I agree.
For some, yeah, okay, right? So when I say to you, is water wet? What I'm saying to you, if something is already has the characteristics of being, wet, it never was dry. So how is it wet? And what I'm saying is that's a common psychology type question. And my argument, in the same argument with meat, is how can you clean something that can never be clean? It's raw. It's raw meat. It's raw by the fact that it's dead and deceased and dying and rotting. It can never be clean. Even when it's clean, it's still not clean. Do you understand my point here?
I agree.
It's rotting meat. So if something is, so if my body, so this is the last one I'll say, if I'm a corpse and my body is dead, no amount of cleaning is going to make my body clean, because each day it rots and it gets more deceased.
Okay.
So my argument is not necessarily that you should or shouldn't clean the meat. I just find it. I don't know. I find it. I struggle to understand why you can be more upset with somebody for not cleaning it the way you clean it, because equally it's not clean, regardless.
Right. I'm gonna say my bit on that. Bruv, you make me laugh. Hey, listeners, don't forget, like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna say this, bro. You're a plant-based eater. Do you wash your fruit and veg before you eat it?
I try. So I've recently learned that just the wash, and you can slew me for this. I've recently learned that just the washing in water is not sufficient for cleaning.
Yeah, some people are saying you've got to put it in vinegar and something.
Yeah, vinegar, salt, bicarb, all of that. I'm recently learning this.
But you wash your veg, right? And your fruit. But why do you do that?
I do it because it's often covered in pesticides.
Right. So this is my reason why I was taught to wash the meat. It wasn't the case of, and this is it's funny because I agree and disagree with you on certain things, and we're still brethren. My thing is, right, I wash my meat because I don't know where that meat has been, and I mean sense of where it's been transported, how it's been transported. Bro, man's will drop it on the floor and put it in the crate, and then I'm just gonna take it out of the packet and put it in the oven. Do you see what I mean? I wash it. So
that's not my argument, though. No, that's not my argument, bro. You're telling me why you wash it. I'm not asking why you wash it.
Hold on, I'm just saying.
But I'm not asking you why you wash it.
Hey, bruv, you let me finish my piece, bruv. Come on. You know what I mean? Call yourself IR. Yeah? So that's why I wash my meat. I don't criticize anyone else for not washing their meat. And this is what I'm going to say to people, yeah? So all them people that are like, well, you don't wash your meat, yeah? I ain't eating from you. But then you go Nando's and have a half chicken. You think Nando's are washing their meat? Nando's ain't washing their meat, bro. Dixie Chicken, Morley's are not washing their meat, bro. So it's a little bit hypocritical, innit? If that's what you're going to, like you say, my famous hashtag, keep the same energy, yeah? If you're going to slew your friends and family for not washing your meat, then technically you shouldn't be eating Nando's. You shouldn't be eating at Dickie, Morley's, getting a free plug, favorite chicken. You shouldn't be eating from none of them places because none of them places wash their meat. That's a fact. I wash my meat because I don't know where it's come from, and I wash it from my own sense of cleanliness with my meat. That you know what, I'm washing it, and this is a standard that I know that I washed it. I have never had salmonella, so when I see them videos about people that are like, oh, you get bro, my belly's never run like that from my own cooking. And if your belly's run from your own cooking, that's more about your culinary skills. But that's why I'm gonna leave that. Like that's just my thing. Again, it's a personal choice.
No, the reason why I interjected so vehemently is I'm not questioning your cleaning of the meat. What I'm questioning is what I see a lot on social media, and I don't know why I'm even quoting social media because social media is something that I just find abhorrent at the moment.
Al, you've been great today.
What I'm questioning.
Al, can I just interject you and just say you have been great today because you have set me up for so much stuff that I want to go on next. Like since you've been away for the last 10 months, you've upped your game. Go on, come through. Say a bit.
Anyway, what my issue is the umbrage that's taken on by people by saying, hold on a minute, that person, they only washed their chicken in the water. Oh my goodness. They only used 1 lemon. Oh my goodness. They didn't use vinegar. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Like, I don't understand how you can be angry with the way that people wash something that cannot be clean. It's like saying, hold on a minute, you only wash your floor with water. Hold on a minute. You only wash your floor with antibacterial spray. Hold on a minute. You don't use bleach? For me, it's like
I get that, bro. Like I said,
meat is something, and you can argue the same with fruit and veg. Fruit and veg, yes. Fruit and veg is something that is dead, it's rotten. But I think we can all agree there is a significant difference between rotting vegetation and rotting meat, corpse, animal body. There's a completely different. You can eat a rotting fruit, and it will not have even a similar effect that you could have eating a rotten animal flesh. And that's the reason why I don't drink milk. Yeah, do you know why I don't drink milk?
I don't drink milk either. So you're talking to me.
I don't drink milk because because more of the world is lactose intolerant than that isn't. That's the first thing. Yeah. It's number two, you cannot convince me that somebody can prove to me drinking the breast milk of a bovine is something that's good for me, because I would argue, why a bovine? Why not a tiger? Why not a hippo?
Bruv.
Why not the breast milk of a different animal?
Well,
Because
you
you know
say that,
what?
bruv. In
The,
Australia,
the breast milk of a the breast milk of a cow is made for one other person, one other animal.
the calf,
You know what that animal is for?
the calf.
Exactly. Right? So not only are you taking the breast milk from the calf, if it's a male calf, you're killing it because it doesn't serve you in a process and it doesn't give you anything from it. And then you're using that to feed other people, not to feed the other female calves, because they're being built and antibioticed up and fed to also breed milk themselves. So when you're getting that milk, the amount of impurities, we're talking about pus on the bloody, on udders. We're talking about udders, of antibiotic cows. We're talking about, the things that go over the udders, sucking the milk, falling on the floor. The amount of horrible diseased impurities that go into milk that you go and drink. No wonder you're just doing shoes afterwards, bro.
Bro, you know what?
Like, it's so impure.
In Australia,
so impure.
They have so many camels that they're now doing camel milk in it. But do you know what, bro? To be fair, if we started serving ourselves human breast milk, bro, I don't think people want the uptake.
Oh,
it's conditioned, isn't it?
But then why? But it's conditioning. Really. It's conditioning. Yeah, so why would you turn? I've watched programs on Netflix. People turn their nose up at another woman's breast milk, but you drink the milk of another animal, a cow. And why a cow?
Goat's milk's the
most
grossest thing. I don't drink milk. Like,
when surely the thing that has the most impact on your health is other breast milk. Surely,
again,
because it's made by a human.
It's a personal choice, isn't it? I ain't got the right to know what they put in there.
Not a personal choice. I think it's a load of nonsense. Personally,
that's
one thing I'll stick my hat in the ring. No, that's one thing I'll and I'm not one for saying that. I like to respect people's opinion, but you cannot convince me, on no way, shape, or form, that there is a medical or nutritional value from drinking the breast milk of another animal. I'm sorry. Yeah. You cannot convince me that. I think that is nonsense, personally.
Bro, I don't drink milk, bro. I don't drink milk.
Most things in life,
or cows,
that we believe, hand on heart, is because of marketing. I'll give you an example of that. Getting an engagement ring. How much you got to spend on your engagement ring?
It's meant to be 2 months. No, that's the wedding ring's meant to be 2 months' wages, isn't it?
No, engagement ring. You're right. How much an engagement ring?
I don't price, whatever you can afford.
No, but how much are we supposed to? What's folklore? So you were just saying it.
2 or 3 months' wages is meant to be.
And do you know why that is?
Why?
Do you know why that is?
No, I don't.
A famous company called De Beers, Diamond Company. That was their advertising campaign. If you don't spend 2 to 3 months of your salary on your wedding ring, on your engagement ring for your partner, you don't love her. That was an advertising campaign, right? In the same way. Exactly. In the same way, there's a reason why after the war, people bought, lots and lots of, in America, they bought lots and lots of goods and products, because after the war, they convinced everybody to say, well, hold on a minute, you don't want things that last. What are you doing that for? Why are you buying things that last? We need you to buy things that don't last, and you keep buying them, and that way the economy gets better. So they convince people that, hold on a minute, you just got a new job, got a bit of money in your pocket, get yourself a brand new Hoover. Don't worry about the old Hoover. Get yourself a brand new cooker. Don't worry about the old cooker.
It's actually not called a Hoover. It's called a vacuum. But
the vacuum. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So all Hoovers are vacuums, and not all vacuums are Hoover. Yeah, I get that.
Hoover's a company.
But that's the point. There's a lot of things that we look at in life and we say that's what we should do, but we're only doing it because people are trying to get our money from us. So.
Yeah, you lead me on to my last point.
That rant about chicken.
You lead me on to my last point. I think we've got one more subject to wrap this up. But before we go on,
it's a tough one.
Before we go on to that, you spoke about social media. Everything today has been social media led or based. And I've been watching.
I hate it.
I know you're not a big fan of his, but I've been watching Charlemagne the God's Honest Truth show.
No, I would say the opposite. No, I think that's where we disconnect. I am a big fan of him. I just don't agree with everything he says.
Yeah, and
I
I don't
read
either.
one of his books. One of his books was his first book was fantastic.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of him. There are some things that I'm not a fan of because I think when you align yourself in this space of telling the truth all the time, you've got to hold everybody to account. And where he held Birdman to account perfectly, he doesn't always hold everybody to account.
No,
in the
I hate
same
his use
way.
of the N. I hate his use of the N word, but do you know what? I love his phrase. I'm sending you healing energy. Sometimes I've got to send you healing energy. And I use that phrase a lot because I like it. Sometimes, bro, I've always said it takes. I'm digressing a little bit. It takes a lot more energy to hate than it does to love.
Talk, man.
Do you know what I mean? It takes a lot more energy to hate than it does to love. So I'd rather send people healing. And when not, sometimes when I smell your breath, I send you healing energy that you'll get Listerines. No, them ones there. But anyway, the point that I was trying to make about social media is that he had on his last episode of The God Honest Truth, he had a social media guy, but he is friends with the guy that started LinkedIn. And bro, this what he said, and I'm saying this to you now, and I know it's gonna be very difficult for me to do. I think within the next 2 years, I want to completely come off social media. I'm not saying that my present social media will come off, but me personally may come off social media because he said that all the most successful social media apps are led by the 7 deadly sins. So if people don't know what the deadly sins are, the 7 deadly sins, they are lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, and pride. So he was saying that all the big social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat are all successful because they feed off the 7 deadly sins. And it was so right. And it was so empowering to me that I was like, I need to get off this because I have lusted after girls on social media, 100%. I double tap that screen like, boy, look at the bund up on that. And you're like, boy, I'm lusting. Gluttony, the amount of food adverts that we see on social media that make us hungry. Like, it's a really common greed. Like, we get greedy with things. We want more followers. We want more likes. We're all a victim of that. Us being sloffish, being lazy. We are being lazy because the first thing we do is we wake up in the morning and we're checking our social media like we ain't got jobs to go to. So we've been lazy. The raft, the amount of fights that people put on social media, like, yeah, he's going to fill my, they don't say I'm going to fill my raft, but the way he's going to get banged up or whatever they say, it's a raft. And then we also got envy, how we all envy other people's lives on social media, especially the celebrities. We want to be like them, talk like them. And obviously pride is where we pride about what we've done. It's the 7 deadly sins. And it made me realize that within the next 2 years, I personally do not want to be on social media.
I am struggling with that personally now. I've always struggled with it. I only have 2 social media accounts. One of them is purely for work. So as part of my job and part of my role, I'm expected to tweet. That's all I ever use it for. Don't use it for anything else. And the other one that I keep is Instagram. Because I had this sort of similar epiphany of Facebook and all the other ones, Snapchat, all of them. I got rid of all of them. Didn't think they were necessary in my life.
Didn't know you had a Snapchat.
And I have this. Oh yeah, very briefly. I feel like, and I have said this before in the past, that I feel like Instagram affects my mental health. It affects my mental health because I look at it and it angers me. It angers me the way that people behave. And it's not good for mental health. Being in an angry state is not great. I think what's made me struggle to come off it, because I think I've been battling with this for the past couple of weeks. What's made me not come off it is the things that I do care about. Instagram is very useful for. So I care significantly about football, despite the fact that my team at the moment are, I can't even explain how they're making me feel at the moment. It's like having a partner that just, you want them to love you and they don't love you back. That's what I feel like with my football team at the moment. Just love me and do what help me to be happy. And you're not helping me to be happy. There are things that when it comes to sustainability, when it comes to technology, when it comes to some of the social issues, there were so many things that Instagram gives me such quick and easy information to update me and keep me in the loop. Because I don't watch the news, I don't read the news, and I just worry by coming off Instagram, I'll have nothing to keep me in tune with. Like, for example, there was rumors the other day that Kendrick Lamar was going to drop a new album.
Yeah, I heard that rumor.
And it's things like that. It's things like that I want to be on the pulse for, because I care about music. I care about the music I consume. You know, we have this debate all the time, Donda or CLB. And everyone says CLB is trash, but I've listened to CLB every day since it's come out. It means a lot to me, music. So knowing when it's coming out,
either one of them albums, if I'm honest with you.
Knowing when it's coming out, knowing when new things are coming, that's important to me. So removing Instagram, I'll lose that, and I have just to ask myself: is that worth? Because the rest of it I will lose, and that will make me feel better. But is it worth losing the little bit of information I do get from the internet?
I'm in a rock and a hard place, because obviously I need my social media to promote my businesses. Don't forget, go check out Otto Clothing UK. Go and check out our brunches, Otto Bottoms Up. But yeah, I use it for all of that. But like I said, I would personally like to come off and maybe get someone to run them for me. I do listen to the news every morning off one of my Amazon A devices. I can't say it now, otherwise my baby girl will start acting up in the background, which was a gift from my boy Al. AudioGeek gave me my Amazon A. She's a lifesaver. She's the number one lady in my life. Big shout her. You know, I don't like when I shout people out, but I'm shouting her out. So I listen to the news every morning, and I get that, and so I'm sort of on the pulse. But social media does affect people's mental health more than people give it credit for, and I think
we did a whole pod on this. I think everyone that's listening needs to go back and have a look. As Mr. Goldenchild is talking, I'm going to go back and find it and tell you what episode exactly what it was. But we did a whole pod on it. We talked about its effects. We talked about how it makes you feel. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, it does, and I think lockdown, it affected people a lot more. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of positive things to social media as well. I think just lately there's been a lot more negatives towards it. I think the trolling and the bullying, the judgmental stuff, I always feel like, and we're all guilty of it. We've all been bro, it's funny. Like I've said it in that podcast that you're talking about. Why do you think there's not a dislike button on any of these things? Like, if Instagram had a dislike button, bro, and you got more dislikes than you got likes, you may not want to be on there. Do you see what I mean? Like, think about the people.
I agree.
Think about the people that get sent for when they dislike. Like, bro, you and Wayne, Weezy, are big Dave fans. Like, big Dave fans. Yeah. If people started doing thumbs down today, I've seen them jump in the comments like,
no, but people do. People there are lots of memes about Dave fans, and you know what? I embrace them, because I think there is, like you said, social media makes you feel certain ways about 100%. Things. And actually, what I loved about what people said about CLB and Donda is, why do you have to compare an album that one of them says Certified Lover Boy and the other one's named after his dead mother? They're not comparable. They're not comparable. So just enjoy it. Enjoy it. And why do we have to revert to this concept where
I'm better than
you? You have to feel ashamed about what you like. Why? And why I laugh at the Dave memes, because maybe I'm a Dave stan, but so what? It's nice. It's nice to care about something. Bro, it's nice 100%. To actually love an artist. Bro, it's nice to, we have these arguments about Dave and Chip all the time. But it's nice to just love. It's nice to love what someone does, because they put their heart and soul and energy into it. And I listen. It's funny because it's like
the body of work.
Yeah. So like the I'll find it soon. It was the meme that made me laugh the most is they played a bit of a Dave tune and they pressed play, and all Dave said was 22, and he stopped it, and they were like, "Oh my god, can you see the way he said 22? Yeah, basically what he meant." And it made me laugh, because yes, there is a certain Dave fan, which I'm probably argue I'm not far from, that thinks his word. I said this to you before. I think Dave is the best we have at the moment because of his wordplay, because of his lyricism. And that's because everything he says, we microanalyze it,
Yeah,
and I think it's
he's a good
amazing.
storyteller.
But what's wrong with just thinking somebody's amazing? Like, surely that's a great thing to think someone's amazing. That inspires you. That makes you feel happy. So why would we insult other people for feeling the same?
And you know what? I was thinking about this today. I know we're going a bit off subject, but R.I.P. But I do feel like Cadet was on his way to like as a story.
Oh, he was great.
Bruv,
He was great, man.
I think he was just
He was
just coming into his lane before his untimely death. But like, yeah, he's got one tune and it always the wordplay that's 7 minutes long or something. And I just think, bro, you took me on an absolute journey with that song. And I just think, like, yeah, excuse me, that is perfect. But my point that I was trying to make is, look, peeps, me, Al, Weasel, Otto Snells, we disagree on a lot of things, but it doesn't stop us from being friends. Like, we're not always going to have the same opinion on things, but it doesn't mean we can't be friends. I think with social media, because I don't agree with you doesn't mean I still don't, you're still not my friend. And I think we need to get over that narrative of, if you don't agree with me, we can't be together. Like, what you're not get. A prime example is the bloody vaccine, bro. I know we don't want to talk about it, but prime example, as that's relevant, I'm going to talk about it. Because I haven't got it doesn't mean me and Al are not friends, and it doesn't mean I'm still not going around Al's house and chilling. But it doesn't mean that I'm not going to take certain precautions before I go and visit Al. Like, Al has 2 young children, so if I'm going to come into his house, I'm going to make sure I wash my hands before I come in. Do you know what I mean? I'm not just going to come in there and but to be fair,
the rest of your body.
But,
We know you don't wash the rest of your body.
Either. But the thing is, bro, I wash my hands. I used to wash my hands like that anyway. Do you know what I mean? Not maybe before but when I come home, I used to always wash my hands anyway before COVID. Like, you come off the dirty train and buses, and you're like, bro, you just feel grubby. Do you know what I mean? I don't even sit on my bed, bro, with my jeans or anything. I put on house pants. Like, I just don't want to do that. Like, I've seen things on trains and buses that I'm just like, nah. But yeah, the opinions are there. We probably might have to
I think we've definitely gone over. I think there's one topic that we haven't. There's 2 topics we haven't spoke about, but I want to leave them because I think they're important. They deserve their time, even if it is late.
And you know what, Al, that's not a bad thing,
about it
bro.
next,
I think it'll give it
I still want to do it because
I
I feel like one of the biggest things I've learned in this podcasting game, not that we do it for anything other than for the doing it, is I'm a big fan of Max Rushton, and I listen to his Guardian. If there's one podcast that for me is I cling to for my mental health, and by that I mean for things to be equal, for things to be good, for me to be happy, for me to just exist and get on with things, I look forward to my every couple of days my Guardian football podcast because I find it fantastic and amazing. And I won't lie, a lot of the stuff, the way I carry myself in this podcast comes from there. He made a very good point about when you
intimidation
talk,
is the greatest flattery, bro.
when you talk about certain issues in football, should you always talk about the social issues? So, for example, when you talk about Ronaldo, should you always talk about the fact that he was in court for rape? When you talk about Newcastle, each time you mention Newcastle, do you mention about the human rights atrocities in Saudi Arabia? And his point was, we're still trying to figure it out, but you do people a disservice by not talking about things that you need to talk about. And the 2 conversations we were going to have was about Dave Chappelle and the transphobia surrounding his latest Netflix special, and about the Australian footballer, I believe his name was Josh Cavallo, who had come out as the first sort of high.
No, apparently
whether you agree with it being high profile, the first professional footballer.
Yeah.
To come out as gay, and maybe that's devaluing him by saying he's not high profile, but equally, yeah, we were going to have that conversation. What I don't want to do is give that 5 minutes or 10 minutes of time, because one thing I've always said about the trans community is I don't know enough about it, but I equally want to give a voice if that's something that needs to be discussed. And I think we've been very clear in previous pods about our support for the gay community and how anything that comes up that's relevant, we would always talk about. But one thing I would like to end the pod with before, Gravy does his usual shout outs and promotions is just a little rundown for those who have never listened to it. What we talked about in season 1. Nice quick one, because as I was looking for that pod that we discussed before in reference to, I can't remember what we were talking about, and I said I was going to look and find it. I thought it'd be interesting to look at what we've done before. So the first episode was Hello World. We talked about George Floyd, coping with lockdown, and Project Restart. Do you remember that, Gravy?
Yeah, I remember.
Project Restart.
It's our most listened to pod.
So,
So then we've got on YouTube. It's the most listened to.
And then episode 2 was Talk That Talk. We talked about this is exactly what we were looking for, the social media. I'd forgotten it. We were looking for the social media episode. That was episode 2. We talked about feedback from episode 1. And look, straight away, the first thing we talked about was why is there a lack of openly gay male athletes in high-profile sports? So it's funny how we've come back around season 2, and that's something that,
I know, still.
Yeah, full circle. Social media versus reality, which was a very good topic. Then we had Is Love an Open Door? Gravy, what was Is Love an Open Door about? Can you remember?
Will Smith and Jada.
It was. And funny enough, that's come back up again.
Situationship, baby.
That's come back up again because she said something about their sex lives. That's come back up again. And we talked about modern day role models, which was a nice one. We all chose a modern day role model. Episode 4, The Curse of a Genius. What was that about?
Kanye West.
Yep, and it was our first sponsored pod as well. That was Will and Jada, Money versus Political Correctness.
And
you remember that was about Washington Redskins. That was by Set Surf.
Wait, big shout out Set Surf.
And we had The Curse of Genius, which was talking about Kanye and about his mental health issues. Episode 5, What's Good for the Goose is Good for the Gander. What was that about? DJ GoldenChild.
I don't know what that one was about, if I'm honest. I'm not going to lie. What was that one about?
So that was, we talked about, there was a little conversation there about R. Kelly, apparently.
We talked about whole other podcast.
Oh, Sade came on.
Hey, big shout
so I think that might have been to do with Sideman and all of that sort of stuff, and Wiley. That was it. And then we gave our top albums.
Yeah, classic.
So that was good.
The top 5s.
That was a good one. I won't spoil it. I'll let you guys go and read it.
They are all available, by the way, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music.
Mine were clearly the better choices. Episode 6 was probably the saddest one for me. I felt the most sad and most tearful doing it. That was Wakanda Forever.
Yep.
That was a very, very sad one. We also talked about Tory Lanez and the backlash that he had with Megan Thee Stallion. Comic Vic was on that one. That was a very hairy episode, if I remember correctly. We talked about Adele and Famalam, Africans versus Caribbeans, The New Normal, Chadwick Boseman. So yeah, that was a quite a hairy one, if I do say so myself. You remember that one, Gravy?
Yeah, you were getting in your feelings a little bit about that one, innit? You were trying to put.
No, it was less that I was just trying to make sure that we weren't offending people, and we were being. That was my bigger issue. Episode 7, Will History Repeat Itself? What was that about?
Have not got a clue.
That was about the diversity dance. Mason Greenwood and Phil Foden.
Dirty boy there.
And are we headed into a second lockdown?
Boy, we had 3 in it.
Which I think we did. Yeah. Episode 8 was Reset. What was that about?
Us coming out of lockdown.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was just coming out of lockdown, highs and lows. Boy, this is all. I was really getting into it. This week's questions were the highest and lowest points of your life. Who are you really?
That was emotional for me, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Who is behind the mask you show the world? What's holding you back in life? That was about mental health awareness.
That was my favorite one to be
episode.
Fair. One of my favorite.
It was a good one. Episode 9 was something. If you don't have something nice to say,
say it.
What was that about?
Have not got a clue.
What was that about? So I'll give you a clue. That was near Christmas, a month before Christmas.
I don't even know, bro.
Sainsbury's advert.
Oh yeah, the black family, innit? That people are upset about.
Yeah, and Greg Clark, resignation of the FA chairman. Right. What's on the Christmas list? And then the last one was
my favorite podcast.
Fini, the end. Fini. and it was a roundup of our favourite podcasts. And then we went straight on to the sports edition, and the joke of that is the first episode was "What's wrong with Liverpool?"
There you go. And that's
What's
just
wrong with
gonna be
Liverpool?
what's wrong with United, mate, or even what's wrong with Arsenal.
Boy,
Do you know what
boy,
though?
boy,
Look,
boy, boy,
I
boy.
do want to put out there. Thank you for everyone that has supported the podcast, the likes, the shares, the follows. Even if it has been 5-6 people that have listened, it's 5-6 people that did listen before, and I do appreciate that. We are going to try and be more consistent. We're going to come back. I know these used to get released on the Monday. I'm still going to aim to get them released on Mondays. That gives Al, who does work very hard, time to edit it. It does take a lot to do this stuff. And I think, like Al's always said, consistency is key with anything you do. You only get out what you put in. So to all them people that have started podcasts, done one episode and quit, get back on it. Even if you got one listen, that's one listen you never had. So I appreciate everyone that's locked in. I also want to say a big shout out to this week's. I got a new thing where I don't think we tell each other how much we appreciate each other. And I want to say my inspiration this week has been my little brother, who I want to say a big congratulations to on passing an exam at work. He has inspired me this week so much. Like it brings a little tear to my eye. My little brother is one of the most hard-working, hard-headed people I know. But one thing I will give him, if he puts his mind to something, he smashes it. And he smashed this exam. And I am very proud of you, little bro. So big shout out to my little brother, D. Jones.
Well, I think that brings a very long return pod to a conclusion. It's looking at an hour and a half. I think by the time I edit it, it'll be about an hour and 20. All I would say, stick with it, listen to it. I think there are a lot of key points. I think why I did this podcast was to give a voice to people who felt disenfranchised, give a voice to people who didn't felt they were being heard, and actually just talk. So I feel like this doesn't work unless we have. And my biggest plan was always to get people on it, random people on it. That was always my biggest plan. So please stick with it. Please listen. Please comment,
like, share,
and
subscribe.
please, and please reach out, because ultimately, I just want people on talking.
You know what? And if you want to come on, contact us. Like,
that's what I want. That's what I genuinely, I just send the DM.
Email us.
Please, and it doesn't have to be a particular subject.
Doesn't have to be a whole podcast either. You can come in and come out. Like, be a bit.
I'd love that. I'd love that.
I am going to try and get someone on.
Open my eyes.
The next podcast, I'm going to try and get someone on from the medical profession, just to talk more about stuff that, look, we only do our own research. We do try to do our research as much as we can, but I'm not an expert in anything medical. I'm not an MD. So it'd be great to get someone in from that field to have that conversation. But please don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Follow me at DJ_GoldenChild. Don't forget to follow the brunch, Otto Bottoms Up. Don't forget to follow the clothing, Otto Clothing UK. And don't forget to follow this podcast at Otto Let's Talk.
The next one won't be as long, I promise. So from me, it's a thank you. Thank you for listening. Please get in touch. Please get in touch. I just want to read what people have to say. I want to read what suggestions are. I want people on. I really do. I want people on. There's so many people I work with that I want to get on. And that's easy because they'll just do it. But I really want people on to talk about themselves, really. Talk about their struggles, their lives, their communities. Because we're all part of different communities. So please listen, please comment, please contact us. It's a thank you for me from listening, and I've only got one more person to thank, and that is Mr. DJ GoldenChild.
And I'd like to say, Otto, let's talk.